Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Fluent English Journey. It starts like this. Imagine you are sitting in a quiet room. The sun is slowly rising, and a small cup of tea warms your hands. You feel calm, but also a little nervous. Because today, you are going to learn something that will change the way you speak English forever. You might think, I already know English. I read books. I watch movies. I speak sometimes. But why do I still feel slow? Why do I struggle to find the right word? This is normal. Almost everyone feels this way, even at C1 and C2 levels. And the good news is, there is a way to fix it. There are 10 rules, simple rules, but very powerful. Rules that will make your English feel natural. Rules that will make you feel confident when speaking. Rules that will make listening easier, even to fast speakers. But before I tell you these rules, let me share a secret. Fluency is not about memorizing words. Fluency is not about grammar rules. Fluency is about thinking in English. When you can think in English, speak comes naturally. Your mind and mouth work together. Listening becomes easier. And understanding happens automatically. Today, we will explore these 10 rules, one by one. Each rule is a step. Step 1 brings you closer. Step 2, even closer. And Step 10, you will feel English flowing inside you like a river. But here is the first question for you. Are you ready to stop translating in your mind and start feeling English as a living language? Good. Let's begin. Rule 1 is simple but powerful. It is about focus. Many learners try to speak and listen at the same time. They are reading subtitles, thinking about grammar, correcting pronunciation, and trying to understand every word. This creates a block. Your brain feels heavy, like carrying a bag full of rocks. The key is focus. Focus on meaning, not words. If you hear a sentence and do not understand every word, it is okay. Ask yourself, what is the main idea? What is the feeling? What is the action? This is the first step toward fluency. Let me tell you a story. There was a student, Sarah. She knew grammar perfectly. She could write essays that teachers loved. But when she spoke, she froze. One day, she stopped worrying about words. She started to listen to English as music, as feelings, as ideas. She repeated sentences, not word by word, but as a whole. Slowly, she started speaking faster, more confidently. She started thinking in English. And her fluency changed forever. Now, let us practice together. Imagine a short sentence. I will go to the market tomorrow. Don't focus on every word. Focus on the meaning. I will go market tomorrow. Can you feel it? Can you feel the sentence moving in your mouth? Now, try another one. She has already finished her homework. Again, meaning first. She finished homework already. This simple method, focusing on meaning, will give your brain freedom. You will not be trapped by grammar. You will start to feel English. But focus is not enough alone. The second part of this rule is listening actively. Listening is like training your muscles. You do not watch English passively. You listen carefully. You notice sounds, rhythm, and stress. You notice how native speakers connect words. For example, I am going to becomes I'm gonna. What are you doing becomes what you doing. If you ignore these small sounds, English will feel slow and strange. If you notice them, your listening and speaking will speed up. So here is your first challenge. For the next 10 minutes, listen to a short English audio. Do not pause. Do not translate. Just feel the meaning. Write down only the main ideas. Not every word. Just the ideas. Then repeat sentences aloud, slowly at first, then faster. Notice how your mouth moves. Notice how your brain understands. This small practice, done every day, will start your journey to rapid fluency. Before we move to Rule 2, ask yourself this. Are you ready to change your focus? To let English flow freely? Because once you accept this, The journey will feel exciting, not hard. And each rule after this builds on this one. Together, these 10 rules are like a ladder. Step 1 is the base. Step 10, the sky. And today, we climb them together. After focusing on meaning and listening actively, the next step is immersion. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a calm lake early in the morning. The water is still, the air is quiet, and the first light of the sun touches the surface. You step into the water slowly, and it surrounds your feet, then your legs, then your body. Immersion in English works the same way. You do not just touch English with small lessons or short sentences. You step fully into it. The more you immerse, the faster your fluency grows. Many learners try immersion, but they do it the wrong way. They watch movies with subtitles, read books with dictionaries, and think they are immersed. This is like dipping your toe in the lake and calling it swimming. True immersion happens when your mind and your senses are fully in English, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Let me tell you about a man named David. David had studied English for 10 years. He read newspapers, memorized grammar rules, and passed exams with top scores. But when he traveled abroad, he could not understand conversations. He felt lost, frustrated, and embarrassed. Then he tried immersion. He decided to listen to English all the time. In the morning, he listened to a podcast while making breakfast. On the way to work, he listened to the radio in English. During lunch, he read a short story aloud. In the evening, he watched a TV show without subtitles. At first, it was hard. He could only catch pieces of the conversation. Some words were completely unknown. But after a few weeks, something changed. His ears started to understand faster. His mouth started to form sentences more naturally. He stopped translating in his mind. He started thinking in English. This is the magic of immersion. Immersion has several small secrets that make it powerful. First, surround yourself with English you enjoy. Do not force yourself to listen to boring lessons for hours. Pick topics you love. Maybe it is sports, music, or travel. The more you enjoy it, the more your brain remembers. Second, listen at different speeds. Start slow to understand every word, then increase speed. Fast speech trains your brain to catch patterns and rhythms. Third, repeat out loud. Mimic native speakers. Do not just hear English. Speak it. Copy the rhythm, intonation, and emotion. Your voice and your brain must work together. Here is a small exercise. Take a short audio, maybe 2 minutes long. Listen once for general meaning. Listen a second time and repeat sentences aloud. A third time, try to summarize aloud in your own words. Notice how each time your understanding improves, how your pronunciation becomes smoother. This is small, simple, but it is like adding water to your lake. Slowly, your immersion becomes deeper. Now, some learners ask, but I cannot live in an English-speaking country. How can I immerse? The answer is simple. You do not need to move to another country. Immersion is mental and sensory. Your brain must feel English everywhere. Change your phone. Language, read articles online. Think in English while walking or talk to yourself silently in English. Imagine describing your day to a friend. I wake up. I eat breakfast. I go to work. I meet a colleague. We discuss the project. Practice these daily. The more natural it feels, the closer you are to fluency. Finally, reflection is important. After each immersion session, ask yourself, what did I understand? What did I notice? How did my mouth and mind feel? Small reflections train your brain to notice patterns, new words, and sentence structures. This makes learning faster and listening easier. Remember, immersion is not about understanding every word. It is about feeling English as alive and real. Step into the water fully, and English will surround you. Slowly, you will float, then swim, then glide confidently in your fluency journey. Now, imagine you are walking through a busy street in a city you've never been to. Cars are honking, people are talking, signs are everywhere, and your mind is trying to make sense of it all. If you try to translate everything into your first language, you will feel lost. You will hesitate at every step, unsure, slow, and nervous. This is exactly what happens to many English learners, even at advanced levels. You know words, grammar, and phrases, but your brain is still translating. And translation slows you down. Fluency comes when you stop translating and start thinking in English directly. Your mind and mouth start working as one, like a team moving together. Let me tell you a story. Maria, a student from Spain, had studied English for 8 years. She could read novels easily, write essays that impressed teachers, and even understand movies if she paused often. But when she spoke, she sounded slow and unnatural. She was translating every sentence in her mind. Then she decided to try something bold. She promised herself, "From now on, I will think in English for small tasks." At first, it was simple. She described her day to herself silently. "I wake up. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast." Then she started imagining conversations. If I meet a friend, I say, "Hi, how are you?" "I am good." "And you?" Slowly, she stopped translating every word from Spanish to English. She started feeling English. Her speaking became faster, smoother, and more confident. Thinking in English is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, your mind worries, balances, and struggles. But once you let go of translation, your brain finds patterns naturally. Words and phrases flow, and understanding happens automatically. One tip is to label your thoughts. For example, when cooking, you can think, "I chop the onions. I heat the pan. I add oil. I stir carefully." Small actions described in English create a bridge between thought and language. Another tip is to talk to yourself silently. Narrate your day, your feelings, your plans. The more you think in English, the stronger the connection between your mind and mouth. Now, a small challenge for you. For the next 10 minutes, do everything in English silently in your mind. Plan a simple story. Describe your room. Describe your morning routine. Try not to translate. If a word is unknown, use simple words to describe it. For example, instead of stove, you can say the thing I cook on. This keeps your thoughts moving without stopping. This exercise trains your brain to think in English first, not last. Some learners worry, "But I make mistakes when I think in English." That is normal. Mistakes are part of the journey. In fact, mistakes are a good sign. They show that your brain is actively creating English sentences. Every time you make a mistake, your brain learns the correct form faster. Remember, translation is a habit. Breaking it takes practice, patience, and persistence. Think in English in small steps, then bigger steps, and soon, every conversation will feel natural. Finally, reflection. After each thinking session, ask yourself, which words felt natural? Which sentences were slow? What patterns did I notice? Reflection trains your brain to recognize correct usage and improves memory. Soon, your mind will not pause to translate. You will respond automatically. English will become a living language inside you, not just a subject you study. And that is a huge step toward fluency. Imagine you are learning to swim. You read books about swimming. You watch videos about swimming. You even imagine yourself gliding through water. But until you step into the water, until you move your arms and kick your legs, you cannot swim. Speaking English is exactly the same. Many learners wait until they feel ready to speak perfectly. They practice in private, repeat phrases silently, or memorize grammar rules. But fluency does not come from preparation alone. Fluency comes from speaking early, speaking often, and embracing the process. Let me tell you a story. James, an engineer from Germany, had studied English for 7 years. He could write essays, read books, and understand lectures easily. But he avoided speaking. He feared mistakes, feared judgment, and feared looking slow. One day, he decided to join a small English-speaking group. His first day was hard. He stumbled, paused, forgot words. He felt embarrassed. But he continued. Each day, he spoke more. Each day, his confidence grew. 3 months later, he spoke in meetings, explained projects, and even told jokes in English. The secret was simple. He spoke early and often. Mistakes were part of learning, not a sign of failure. Speaking early is not about perfect grammar or vocabulary. It is about communication, expression, and connection. Even simple sentences matter. Saying, "I like coffee" or "I am tired" is more important than waiting for the perfect, complex sentence. Your brain and mouth need practice moving together. The more you speak, the faster words come. The more you speak, the faster sentences flow. One tip is to speak to yourself aloud. Describe your actions while cooking, cleaning, or walking. I open the door. I walk to the kitchen. I pour water. These small sentences build fluency muscle. Another tip is to record yourself. Listen later. Notice pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Celebrate improvement. Small steps add up. Now, a small exercise. Pick a short story or daily routine. Speak it aloud for 3 minutes. Do not worry about mistakes. Then repeat it, trying to say it smoother, faster, more naturally. Do this every day. Your mouth will remember the patterns. Your brain will remember the words. Slowly, speaking becomes effortless. Some learners ask, "What if people correct me?" That is okay. Feedback is useful, but fear should not stop you. Most people are supportive. They want to help. Mistakes are stepping stones, not obstacles. Speaking often teaches your brain to form sentences automatically. Waiting for perfection only slows progress. Finally, reflection. After speaking, think, which sentences were easy? Which words came slowly? What sounds were hard? This reflection trains your brain to notice patterns and mistakes, making the next practice better. The key is consistency, courage, and practice. Speak early. Speak often. Do not wait. Every small sentence builds fluency. Every small conversation strengthens your confidence. And soon, English will feel like a natural part of your life, not just something you study. Imagine you are at a music concert. The singer performs, and the rhythm, melody, and energy surround you. You try to clap along, then hum, then sing with the singer. At first, your timing is off. Your voice does not match exactly. But as you listen carefully and repeat, your body, voice, and mind start moving together with the music. Speaking English works in a similar way. This technique is called shadowing. You listen carefully to a native speaker and immediately repeat, trying to match rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation. This trains your brain and mouth to speak like a native. Let me tell you a story. Lisa, a teacher from Italy, wanted to improve her speaking. She had studied English for years and knew many words, but her speech sounded slow and robotic. One day, she discovered shadowing. She picked a short English audio from a podcast. She listened to one sentence, "I cannot believe how beautiful the city looks tonight." Then she immediately repeated it aloud, matching the rhythm and stress. At first, it felt strange. Her voice sounded rushed or uneven. But she persisted. Every day, 10 minutes of shadowing. Slowly, her pronunciation improved. Her sentences started to flow. Her intonation sounded natural. She could speak faster and with confidence. Shadowing is like learning a musical instrument. Repetition trains your muscles and brain together. Shadowing has several secrets to make it effective. First, Choose short audios at your level. 2 to 3 sentences are enough. Focus on exact sounds, rhythm, and stress, not only words. Second, repeat multiple times. Do not rush. Start slow, then gradually increase speed. Third, record yourself. Listen carefully and compare with the original. Notice small differences. Even small adjustments make a huge difference in fluency. Fourth, shadow every day. Consistency matters more than duration. 10 minutes daily is better than 1 hour once a week. Here is a small exercise. Take a short audio sentence like, "I never imagined that life could be this beautiful." Listen once to understand meaning. Listen again and repeat aloud immediately. Match the rhythm. Emphasize the right words. Repeat 3 times. Then, try another sentence. Feel the flow. Feel the connection between your ear, brain, and mouth. This small practice strengthens fluency, pronunciation, and listening simultaneously. Some learners worry, "I sound silly when I shadow." That is normal. At first, your voice may feel awkward. Native speakers have different rhythms and accents. But shadowing is not about perfection. It is about training your brain and mouth together. Mistakes are part of learning. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. Finally, reflection. After shadowing, ask yourself, which words felt easy? Which sounds were tricky? Did my rhythm match? Reflecting helps your brain notice patterns, and over time, your speaking begins to sound native-like. Remember, shadowing is powerful because it trains listening, speaking, pronunciation, and rhythm at the same time. It is one of the fastest ways to reach advanced fluency. Imagine walking into a forest. You see tall trees, small plants, colorful flowers, and hear birds singing. You don't need a map or guide to enjoy it. Slowly, you notice details: the shape of leaves, the sound of the wind, the scent of flowers. Learning vocabulary works the same way. You don't need to memorize long lists of words. You notice words naturally in context as you experience English in daily life. This is how advanced learners build vocabulary naturally, without stress. Let me tell you a story. Anna, a student from Brazil, wanted to improve her English vocabulary. She tried memorizing lists of 50 words a day, writing them repeatedly, and testing herself. But she forgot them quickly. Then she changed her approach. She read stories she enjoyed, listened to podcasts about topics she loved, and wrote small notes about interesting words. She noticed words in context, like genuine, hesitate, or remarkable. She repeated them naturally in sentences. She gave a genuine smile. "I hesitate before answering. It was a remarkable experience." Slowly, these words became part of her natural speech. She didn't memorize, she experienced them. Expanding vocabulary naturally has several secrets. First, learn words in context, not in isolation. A word is easy to remember if you see how it is used. Second, repeat words actively. Don't just read them. Speak them in sentences, write short stories, or describe your day using new words. Third, group words by theme. For example, words about emotions, travel, food, or work. This helps your brain create connections and recall words faster. Fourth, use words immediately. When you notice a new word, try to speak it aloud today, not tomorrow. Small immediate use strengthens memory. Here is a small exercise. Pick 3 new words from a short story or podcast. For example, astonished, brisk, and delighted. Make 3 sentences for each. I was astonished by the view. She walked at a brisk pace. I felt delighted to meet him. Then, say these sentences aloud 3 times. Notice how they sound. Repeat this daily, and your vocabulary will grow naturally without the stress of memorization. Some learners worry, "I will forget new words." That is normal. Forgetting is part of learning. The key is review and reuse. When you use a word again and again in speaking or listening, it becomes permanent. You don't need hundreds of words at once. Even 5 new words a day, practiced naturally, will make a huge difference in months. Finally, reflection. After reading, listening, or speaking, ask yourself, which new words caught my attention? How can I use them today? Writing, speaking, and thinking in English with these words strengthens your memory. Vocabulary becomes a living tool, not a list to memorize. And slowly, your fluency grows. You speak confidently, understand faster, and feel English inside you, like a natural part of your thoughts. Imagine you are traveling on a train through a foreign country. At each station, people speak differently. Some speak slowly, some quickly. Some words sound familiar, others strange. At first, it feels confusing. You strain your ears and repeat words in your mind, trying to understand everything perfectly. This is exactly what happens when English learners hear different accents. Even advanced learners can struggle because English is spoken in many ways. Around the world, fluency requires practice with different accents. You need to train your ear to understand English, no matter how it sounds. Let me tell you a story. Alex, a student from France, had excellent English. He could read novels, write essays, and even watch movies without subtitles. But when he traveled to Australia, he struggled to understand locals. Words sounded fast, sentences sounded clipped, and pronunciation was different. Frustrated, he decided to practice listening to different accents every day. He watched videos from England, Ireland, Australia, the US, Canada, India, and South Africa. At first, it was hard. He missed words, paused, rewound videos. But slowly, his brain adapted. He learned to notice rhythm, stress, and patterns rather than individual words. He started understanding English no matter the accent. His fluency improved, and so did his confidence. Listening to different accents has several secrets. First, start with slow, clear audio and gradually move to faster, more natural speech. Second, focus on the overall meaning, not every word. Third, repeat and shadow sentences from different accents. Mimicking rhythm and intonation helps your mouth adapt. Fourth, expose yourself daily. Even 10 minutes a day is enough to train your ear. Over time, your brain becomes flexible and understanding different accents becomes natural. Here is a small exercise. Pick 3 short videos, each with a different accent. For example, a British podcast, an Australian YouTube clip, and an American news segment. Listen once for meaning. Listen again and repeat sentences aloud, mimicking rhythm and stress. Then, summarize what you understood in English. Notice differences and similarities between accents. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Some learners worry, I cannot understand fast speakers or strong accents. That is normal. Every ear needs time to adjust. Do not give up. Focus on patterns and meaning, not every word. Even if you miss some words, understanding the message is enough. Gradually, your listening improves, and your brain can predict words before they are fully spoken. Finally, reflection. After listening, ask yourself, which accents were easier? Which sentences were hard? What patterns did I notice? Reflection trains your brain to recognize sounds faster. Soon, listening to English from anywhere in the world will feel natural. You will understand different accents with ease, and your confidence in speaking and listening will grow. This skill is one of the most important for advanced fluency because the world does not speak in one perfect accent, it speaks in many. Imagine you are sitting by a campfire at night. The sky is dark, stars twinkle, and a friend begins to tell a story. You do not hear separate words or random sentences. You hear a story with a beginning, middle, and end. You feel emotions, see images in your mind, and anticipate what will happen next. This is how English fluency works best, thinking in stories, not isolated sentences. Most learners focus on individual sentences, memorizing grammar, and perfect words. But real English, especially at advanced levels, flows as ideas, stories, and experiences, not disconnected sentences. Let me tell you a story. Michael, a business student from Poland, had excellent grammar. He could speak slowly and correctly, but sounded unnatural. When he tried to explain something, he paused after every sentence, like pieces of a puzzle. Then he learned a secret: think in stories. Instead of saying, "I went to the market," "I bought vegetables." "I saw my friend," he imagined the scene, walking through stalls, feeling the smell of fresh vegetables, greeting a friend, and chatting. Then he spoke the whole story naturally. "Yesterday, I went to the market. The vegetables smelled so fresh, and I ran into my friend Anna. We laughed and talked for a while before I continued shopping." His sentences flowed, connected, and sounded natural. Thinking in stories has several advantages. First, it trains your brain to connect ideas naturally. You do not pause unnecessarily between sentences. Second, it makes your speech more memorable and engaging. People listen to stories, not lists of facts. Third, it strengthens your listening comprehension. When you hear English, your brain automatically organizes information into a story, making understanding faster. Fourth, it makes advanced vocabulary easier to use. Words appear naturally in context instead of forced memorization. Here is a small exercise. Take a simple event from your day. For example, making breakfast, walking in the park, or meeting a friend. Instead of listing actions in separate sentences, imagine it as a story. Add feelings, sights, and small details. Then speak it aloud as one flowing story. Example: this morning, I walked to the park. The sun was warm, birds were singing, and I saw a little boy flying a kite. He laughed as the kite danced in the wind. I smiled and continued my walk, feeling calm and happy. Notice how your sentences connect naturally. Some learners worry, "I will make mistakes if I speak in stories." That is normal. Mistakes are part of learning. The difference is that thinking in stories keeps your speech connected and fluid, even if a word is wrong. Context helps you recover naturally. Your listener still understands, and your brain keeps training for fluency. Finally, reflection. After storytelling, ask yourself, did my story flow? Did I pause too often? Which words or phrases felt natural? This reflection trains your brain to organize ideas automatically. Soon, speaking English will feel like telling a story around a campfire, not like reading a list of sentences. You will speak with emotion, rhythm, and connection. Your listening will also improve because your brain now organizes information like a story, predicting and understanding naturally. Thinking in stories is one of the most powerful strategies for advanced fluency. Imagine you are learning to dance. At first, you memorize every step: left foot, right foot, spin, jump. You follow rules carefully, counting each movement. But when music plays faster or when the rhythm changes, you freeze. Then someone tells you, don't think about rules. Feel the rhythm. Follow patterns. Suddenly, your body moves naturally. English fluency works the same way. Many learners focus on grammar rules, tenses, prepositions, sentence structure, but overthinking rules slows speaking. Fluency comes when you use patterns naturally, not think about rules constantly. Let me tell you a story. Sophia, a lawyer from Mexico, studied English for many years. She knew grammar perfectly. She could explain rules to others, write essays flawlessly, and correct mistakes. But speaking was hard. She stopped to think about every verb form, tense, or article. Then she tried a new approach: Focus on patterns, not rules. She noticed sentences like, I have been working all day. She is going to travel tomorrow. They were waiting for the bus. She practiced these patterns repeatedly, saying them aloud and listening to them in context. Slowly, her brain recognized patterns automatically. When speaking, she no longer thought about rules. Her sentences flowed naturally. Using patterns has several secrets. First, notice recurring structures in listening materials, books, or conversations. Words may change, but patterns remain. For example, I have been _____ing for actions continuing from past to present. Second, repeat patterns aloud. Copy rhythm, stress, and structure. Third, apply patterns in new sentences. Replace words while keeping the structure. I have been reading this book. I have been cooking dinner. I have been studying English. Your brain sees the structure, learns it, and speech becomes automatic. Fourth, avoid translating grammar rules. Patterns are easier and faster for fluency. Here is a small exercise. Pick one useful pattern, like I am going to _____. Speak 5 sentences using it. I am going to read a story. I am going to meet my friend. I am going to cook lunch. Repeat aloud. Then try another pattern. They have been _____ing. Make sentences. They have been waiting for the bus. They have been playing football. They have been learning English. Practicing patterns this way trains your brain to speak naturally without pausing for grammar rules. Some learners worry, what if I make grammar mistakes? That is normal. Using patterns helps reduce mistakes naturally because your brain internalizes the structure. Mistakes are part of learning. Patterns give your mind a shortcut. You focus on communication first, and grammar adjusts automatically over time. Finally, reflection. After practicing patterns, ask yourself, which patterns feel natural? Which sentences flow easily? Which ones need more practice? This reflection helps your brain internalize structures faster. Soon, your English will feel automatic, like dancing to a rhythm without thinking about each step. Using patterns instead of rules is one of the fastest ways to speak fluently and confidently at an advanced level. Imagine waking up in the morning and the world around you speaks English. Your phone, your music, your thoughts, your actions, all in English. At first, it feels unusual. You stumble, hesitate, or forget words. But slowly, English becomes part of your life, not just a subject to study. This is the final secret for rapid fluency. Make English a daily life experience. Fluency is not about hours in a classroom or memorizing lists. It is about living English every day in every moment. Let me tell you a story. Daniel, a software engineer from Spain, wanted to become fluent in English. He studied grammar, listened to podcasts, and spoke occasionally. Progress was slow. Then he decided to change his approach. He immersed himself fully. He set his phone, computer, and apps to English. He wrote shopping lists, notes, and reminders in English. He talked to himself aloud while cooking. I boil water. I chop vegetables. I stir the sauce. He described his surroundings. The sun is shining. The street is busy. Birds are singing. Slowly, English became his daily companion. Speaking, listening, thinking, it all became natural. His fluency skyrocketed. Making English a daily experience has several secrets. First, surround yourself with English. Change your phone language, watch shows without subtitles, listen to music, read articles aloud. Second, think and speak in English constantly, even for small tasks. Describe what you are doing, what you see, or what you feel. Third, write in English daily. Journals, notes, or short stories keep your brain active. Fourth, practice actively, not passively. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing should all be connected. Fifth, enjoy the process. Learning is faster when it feels like life, not a chore. Here is a small exercise. Take your next hour and try to live it in English. Speak aloud what you do. I open the fridge. I take out milk. I pour it into a cup. Read labels, signs, or news articles in English. Listen to a podcast while walking. Write a short diary entry. Today was sunny. I went to the park. I met a friend and we talked about our plans. This practice may feel strange at first, but each small step strengthens your fluency muscles. Over time, English becomes second nature. Some learners worry, I cannot live in English all day. That is normal. Start small. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Gradually increase. The key is consistency and presence. Every little habit counts. Slowly, your brain rewires itself. English stops being a separate skill and becomes part of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Finally, reflection. At the end of the day, ask yourself, which English activities felt easy? Which felt challenging? What new words or patterns did I notice? Reflecting helps your brain absorb everything naturally. Soon, speaking, listening, and thinking in English will feel effortless. This is the ultimate step in advanced fluency, living English as a natural part of life, every day, everywhere. When you combine all 10 rules from focus, immersion, thinking in English, speaking early, shadowing, expanding vocabulary, listening to accents, thinking in stories, using patterns, to making English a daily life experience, you create a powerful, unstoppable path to fluency. Remember, fluency is not a goal at the end of a road. Fluency is a journey you live every day. Step by step, word by word, story by story, English becomes alive in your mind, your voice, and your world. You have all the tools. Now, the choice is yours. Embrace English fully and watch your fluency soar.